In today's episode, Maria asks, would I ever need that old link? This is about a video from a couple of years ago on content recycling. Would I ever need that old link to have permanence online and history? By changing this to an updated new link, do I lose any clout or historical SEO points if I take them away from the past and borrow them from the future? So when it comes to content recycling, as long as you redirect the links properly, you shouldn't lose any search value. If you are keeping things on the same domain, and you were just putting a 301 redirect link from your old content to your new content, the recycled article, then any links that you have and the way search engines see their value will simply flow through to the new target destination. In terms of why you would want the old links, I can't really think of a reason why you'd want to hang on to the older URLs. Now, there are some folks, and I can see the argument for this, that would argue that dates in your URL strings are aesthetically unpleasant, and there is no impact one way or the other with dates in URLs. I personally like them because I like to be able to group URLs by date to see how a certain month or a certain year performed, but that's more of an analysis thing that has no SEO impact one way or the other. If you don't have dates in your URLs, then when you go to refresh that article and you change the date and you've updated the content, you don't need to do any redirects because the URL has not changed. When you have the dates, obviously, then you have to do some updating. Again, the only reason you'd want to maybe have some records about the dates is for tracking purposes. And even then, that's not essential. If you know that an article from 2014 has been refreshed in 2020, you don't necessarily need to try and manipulate and consolidate that down to just the slug, which is the non-date part of the URL, to do analysis on it. It's functionally like a new article. Now, is this still the best way to recycle old blog content? I think so. There's something to be said for playing to the strengths of the algorithms. And in this particular case, we're talking about taking stuff that already did well by traffic purposes or by rank purposes and essentially reinforcing it, continuing to improve it. We know that absent other features, longer, more in-depth, better researched content tends to do better because of the way that search engines, Google in particular, views things like expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Having more credible information, having more original new content also serves the algorithms like for diverse, fresh, and relevant content. And so is recycling your old posts by the process of taking them, updating them, and then changing the URL still relevant? Yes. Yes, it absolutely is. In fact, there are some companies that have like 60 blog posts. That's it. And they just keep recycling and improving them over and over and over again. Backlinko does that, I believe. Is it better than new content? It depends. It depends on what's happening in your field, in your industry. I would be hesitant to ever say stop creating new content. If for no other reason, then there's actually frequently new things to create content about. But if you do have winners, it's not a bad idea to keep those winners brushed up. When I do it, the winners that I pick are the ones that have performed well and have high amounts of search traffic built into them. So if you go in Google Analytics or in Google Data Studio, you can look at content and not only the number of visitors and users to that content, but also the number of organic searches visits that came to that piece of content. I like to look at that number as the ones that to keep refreshing. And the ones I refresh, generally I refresh them about once a year, the top ones. So typically what I will do is I have these shows during weekdays, and to keep content fresh, I will simply refresh a piece of content and then backdate it to the nearest previous weekend so that it looks like there's content on a regular, frequent basis. But I'm not clobbering people who subscribe to my blog by having 2 pieces of content drop on the same day. One's enough. One's more than enough. So you may want to do the same thing. I also like to have it be at least 48 hours in the past, so that there are some there's some like Twitter accounts and things that will subscribe to your blog and just retweet posts blindly, and that's fine. But again, I want to make sure that if they're going to share stuff, I want them sharing the most frequent stuff. When you backdate something and have it set to be the most previous weekend, sometimes those bots won't pick it up, right? And that's fine, because again, social media shares have no statistical relationship to search value. From every test that we've done over huge data sets, there's just no correlation between the number of shares something gets and the search rank that it has. So maybe I should do a show on that. That would actually be really interesting to look at social and search data together. Another time. So that's the answer. Yes, keep recycling this way. You don't need the old links as long as you've done the redirects properly and cleanly. And you can multiple redirect. Like I have a post that I've updated now 5 or 6 times. Just make sure that all of the old ones don't go to the next one in the chain. They all go to the most current version. You don't want to create a redirect loop. That looks bad and it's a bad user experience. So just have it go from whatever the oldest version is and the old version and the second most recent version, all of them redirect to the current version. That'll just keep things nice and pleasant for the user. If you have follow-up questions about this, please leave them in the comments box below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.